Welcome to Canva. Today we're going to go through some of the basic tools of Canva so we can start to get comfortable. So this is the main home screen of Canva. This is where you can kind of see all the designs that I have done on Canva so far on my account. And this is the basic account. This is actually a nonprofit account. If you are a nonprofit, you can actually sign up for a free account with Canva, or there's also a premium membership, which unlocks a couple of abilities, which I'll show you a little bit later. But right now, this is technically the free version of Canva, so you can log on to Canva, create an account, and you don't have to pay any money for the version I'm going to use throughout this class. So this is the basic starting point. If I want to create any kind of flyer or logo, I'm going to go ahead and click on More in this Create a Design panel. And you can kind of see there's quite a wide array of sizes. So you could pretty much go wherever you want to go. Just for an example, we'll do a Facebook post. So I'm just going to choose as a social media post, a Facebook post. So it's going to go ahead and open my design. And this is kind of some of the basic tools. It's going to automatically preload some of these templates, which are really nice. And a lot of times I'll start with a template that has the basic layout that I like, and then I start to tweak it. And sometimes I tweak it significantly where you can't even tell it's the original template anymore. So it has a very custom look to it. So to add typography and type in Canva, it's very simple. You go down to this text tab right here and you're able to kind of drag and drop everything. Let's go up and you just see this add heading, you just drag it. So there's a heading, I'm going to drag over the subheading and a little bit of body text. So you can kind of see this already kind of done for you. If you want to have two headings and edit, you can. So let's go ahead and delete that. To be able to make this bigger, you're going to have to go up here and edit the size. So there's the size. And then you're going to have to increase this box so that all the text can fit inside. So you may just have to go back and adjust the size and then adjust your box to get kind of what you're looking for. So there's our heading. I'll just type in heading here. And some of the things you can do with text, let's make this a hair smaller. I'm going to go ahead and double click and highlight it, and I can change it to kind of these pre-made colors right here, or you can actually click on Add Document Colors. It'll bring open the color wheel, so you're able to kind of add a specific color that you want, and you can make it darker as well. So I want a nice dark royal blue, and the great thing about selecting a color, it's going to remember your custom colors. So as you start to create your own custom colors, you'll be able to recall the same color. So if I want to make this the same color, it's pre-saved, and there you go. So some other things you could do with type is make it all caps. And later on in the class, I'm going to go over font basics where you can kind of learn what makes sense from a design perspective in terms of all caps, using lowercase and font combinations. Spacing is a big thing I go over later in the typography section. And to kind of adjust the spacing, here's letter spacing called kerning or leading. And this is the line height that can change the space between the lines. So if there's multiple lines of type. So there's our heading. Here's our subheading. I want to make that slightly larger. Okay, let's see. We can also change, they have a lot of preloaded fonts that are really good. You can also upload your own fonts. I believe that requires a premium membership. So if you pay, I believe it's $10 a month, I'm not sure. For a premium membership, you'll be able to load your own fonts in there. But I find the fonts that are already loaded, I can do a lot with them. There's a lot of great serif fonts, sans serif, which we'll go over the basics of those in the next coming sections. Let's go ahead and change it to this kind of nice, fun font and make it a little bit bigger. And there's our body copy text, which I actually want to make italic, so you can bold and italicize text as well. So that's pretty much it with text. Let's go ahead and delete these elements. Go ahead and delete those, and I'm going to add a preloaded one just to show you kind of the power of loading. If there's one that typography layout that you really love for your headline, just drag it in. You just have to hold down your mouse and make this element a little bit bigger. And remember, when you select an element from a template or one of these pre-made objects, you can ungroup it and you can have more control over the individual elements now. So now they're all separated, they're not grouped together. And the opposite is true. Let's say I want to regroup them. I select them all and I group them, and now they're one unit, and I can make them smaller, this unit smaller or larger. So let's go ahead and ungroup, and we can edit this. We can actually change the color. We want to do our like a blue, and we can edit spacing, and we can actually even change the font type to but this gives us a good start. I think one of the more versatile and powerful tools within Canva is the shapes area. So I'm in my main elements tab, and I'm going to go ahead and click on shapes and kind of show you what you can do. So they have a lot of different shapes that are already preloaded, and you can drag them in to create a combination of any kind of shape you want. So I do this a lot when I do layout design. A lot of times I like to do layout with triangles to kind of cut the design and crop the design. So let me first just drag in a photo. So I'm just going to drag in kind of this photo really quickly, and I'm going to be able to use shapes to frame my photo a little bit. So there's kind of my photo. I'm going to go back to elements and add a shape. So I'm going to add I can do this a couple of ways. I could just add a basic square, and it's going to load in default white, but you can always click it and change the color. So let's say I want this beautiful blue. And so all I have to do to be able to frame this photo is just use the rotate tool, and I'm going to rotate, and I'm going to drag it up to the top. I'm actually going to make it a little longer, more rectangular, and I drag it up to the top. And notice how it's already starting to kind of frame the photo a little bit. And if I really like an angle, I copy it, and now I have two versions of this box, and I just bring it down to here. And just like that, we're already starting to kind of frame our photo. So that's one option you can do. Another option is creating a bounding box for a call to action or headline. So I'm just going to drag in your basic square. I'm going to make it that beautiful blue again. I am actually going to put some kind of call to action or headline in here. And we already went over type, so I'm going to go into the type section, and I'm going to drag in a generic heading. I'm going to make this white and change the spacing a little bit. So we're already starting to kind of see a background for our heading by using a shape. So we can edit our shape a little bit, and I'll show you some other options that you can do as well. So I want to make this a little bit more transparent. So I'm just selecting this box right here, and how I screen back or add a little bit of opacity to a shape, I go up here to this top transparency option, and I'm just going to go ahead and reduce that so you can kind of see a little bit of that background coming through, so our coffee cup is not totally obstructed by the shape. So we can actually do this with call to actions and websites. We could put the website down here, and we did this just by adding a shape. So let's go ahead and delete this and do something else with shapes. So let's go to our Elements and Shapes tab. You can actually do shapes that have borders. So let's bring in a shape. Let's bring in this, I believe that's a hexagon, or actually that has 6 sides. So we can actually have this, go back to our type, and drag in something that looks really good there. So I'm just going to drag in the same one. This is just that grouped pre-made element we worked with just a moment ago. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to change it to white. I'm going to change each element to white. Just going to my colors, I'm just selecting each element and making it white. So you can kind of see you can use shapes to frame headlines. Maybe I don't want this element, I need to ungroup. I'm just going to delete a couple of these text objects. I just want a nice clean shape. There we go. And so that's one shape. You can go ahead and delete that one and check out some other ones real quickly. Triangles, like we can do that to kind of add a little bit of style like we just did earlier with the rectangle, but you can do triangles. You can build all sorts of things. You can actually duplicate this triangle and make it a different color, maybe slightly darker. Make it a little bit darker. And you can actually kind of add layers of different shapes. You can even change the angle of this one. You can kind of see a cool little design going on here. Make this a little bit bigger. Make that bigger. See if I can get that little one right here. There we go. Now you can just start building things out with different shapes. There's stars, hearts. This is great when it comes to logo design. There's some really unique shapes as well. That could be kind of cool if that's the thing you're going for. So that's just a quick overview of shapes in Canva.